tell me. Isn't there enough to suffer already? We got all kind of good reasons to suffer without men cooking up more.
Well, there's always a chance he might come back.
He won't come back now. Thanks to you. Not now. I know him. He's like a stray dog. He's home for a while, and you pet him and feed him, and he licks your hand, and then he's gone again. I know where he's gone, too. Straight to that girl. But you're big beyond that. She's got a hold on his mind.
Well, Frankie will find him. He'll bring him back.
Frankie can't even find his own zipper. How's he gonna find his brother?
Just try a little soup, Mom.
I don't want any of that slop. Stop trying to pawn it off on me.
It's the same batch you made for Jake.
I know. Smells like it.
Smells all right to me.
It's right.
Well, you gotta eat something.
My son's abandoned me. Can't you understand that? He's abandoned me, and you put him up to
I
it.
didn't put him up to nothing. What was he gonna do? Sit here and rot in his room? He would have left sooner or later.
He's run off to the wild world, and he could have stayed here under my protection. He could have stayed here forever, and no one could have touched him. Now he's gonna wind up right back in prison. Prison, where they'll eat him alive.
Just take a little soup on your tongue. See if you like it.
And don't get that stuff away from me. What's the matter with you? I'm not interested in food. I'm not interested in keeping something alive that's already dead.
You're not dead yet. You won't get out of it that easy.
I know what'll happen. I can see it plain as day. They'll find it by the highway. That's what'll happen. Crumpled up, busted open like a rogue dog. Then maybe you'll be satisfied.
I don't want anything to happen to him any more than you do. He couldn't stay here.
I'll get a call. A cop will come to my door just like before, just like with his daddy. I'll wait for that cop. I'll wait right here, as long as I have to.
Now, don't start imagining things.
There's nothing imaginary about it. I can see it.
What can you see?
Maybe the same cop will come. The very same cop. I never could figure that out. Why'd they send a cop? Why should a cop be a messenger of death? It's like sending a fireman.
Now, don't let yourself get so worked up over this. You'll make yourself sick.
You sent that cop, didn't you? Back then, Jake never would have done something like that. He'd told me face to face.
It happened in Mexico. We were miles away. Mexico, remember?
I remember. Don't talk to me like I'm an idiot.
Tried to call you the night it happened. We both tried to call you, but they said the police had to do it. It was international. I never wanted to send a cop. They said it had to be official.
Doesn't matter. Official, unofficial, it's the same news. Dead is dead. Nobody can make it undead.
But you didn't really care one way or the other, did you? You'd let him go a long time ago.
He left me, all right? Get that straight in your noggin. He left me, not the other way around.
But you didn't try to find him.
Tried what? Who are you to be judging me now? Who are you? You don't even have a man. Never did.
You're not recommending it, are you?
Just don't go accusing me of neglecting your father. You don't know nothing about it.
You never asked me about it.
About what?
Our trip down there. Me and Jake made a special trip down there. We found him in his trailer down there.
And so what? You want a medal or something? You're his kid, not his wife. Why shouldn't you go try to find him? I don't want to hear about that stuff now.
We really surprised him. I don't think he'd had a visitor in months.
Who'd visit him?
He didn't even know who we were at first. Just sort of stood in the screen door, staring at us like we might be burglars or something.
Probably drunk as usual.
No, stone cold sober. He didn't have any money to drink. He looked real weak and vulnerable. Opposite of how he was when he was drinking.
He was always weak. That never changed.
He took us inside and the smell almost knocked me out. It smelled like dirty laundry and old cigarettes and something else, something almost sweet.
Booze?
Maybe.
Tiger Rose. That was his baby, Tiger Rose. Must have tripped over 1,000,000 of them skinny green bottles.
He had all these pictures of us taped to the walls. Baby pictures and 4-H club pictures and pictures of Jake running with the football. But they were all squeezed in between these other pictures. Pictures of Bing Crosby and Ginger Rogers and Ida Lupino and Gene Autry and Louis Armstrong. And there we were, kind of peeking out between the cracks of these faces. I have a feeling we spent a lot of time talking to these faces. Maybe even introducing the pictures of us to the pictures of all these stars. Try to make a family out of us all so we know each other.
Yeah, well, you should have tried that at home first.
You can't condemn him now, he's dead.
I'll condemn him right up to my last breath. He shaped my whole life. Vengeance is the only thing that keeps me going.
How can you get revenge out of a dead man?
Because he's still alive in me. sure of that.
That's not him. That's you. You hadn't had him. You'd have found somebody else to throw the blame on.
Yeah, well, you didn't know him like I knew him.
Guess not. Because the man I saw down there with Jake was totally innocent.
Innocent. That's a hot one.
Did you ever wonder about him, about what became of him?
Who?
Dad.
Wonder? Did I ever wonder? You know, a man, your whole life, you grow up, you're almost raised together. You go to school on the same bus together. You go through tornadoes together in the same basement. You go through a world war together. You have babies together. And one day he just up and disappears. Did I ever wonder? Yeah, you bet your sweet life I wondered. Do you know where all that wondering got me? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Because here I am. Here I am. Alone. Just the same as though he never even existed.
But I thought you said he was an Indian.
Not him. Some disease he left behind.
Well, there must have been a time when you loved him.
Love?
Before.
What a crock of shit. Love? That's another disease. The difference is it's a disease that makes you feel good while it lasts. And when it's gone, you're worse off than before you caught it.
Well, I don't think there's a whole lot we can do about it, is there?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. You can resist. You can look it right square in the kisser and resist.
Maybe. Maybe you can. That's what Jake tried to do. He's a lot like you, I guess. He started squirming in that trailer, making up reasons why we had to get out of there, get back across the border before dark. Dad kept wanting us to stay, but he didn't have anything to offer us. And that's when Jake made a desperate move. He didn't even know he was doing it. He was so desperate to get out of that situation, he stands up and offers to take Dad and me out to a bar for a drink. I couldn't believe it. Dad's whole face lit up. I've never seen his face like that. He smiled like a little kid and grabbed his hat.
Can't stop a drinking man from drinking. All he needs is an idea and he's gone. Just the idea of straddling a bar stool, some honky-tonk somewhere in his mind. He's gone.
At first, it was like this brotherhood they just remembered. But then it started to shift. After about the fourth double shot, it started to go in a whole different direction.
That figures.
There was a meanness that started to come out of both of them, like hidden snakes. A terrible meanness, like murder almost. It was murder.
What do you mean, murder?
Their eyes changed. Something in their eyes, like animals, like the way an animal looks for the weaknesses in another animal. They started poking at each other's weaknesses, stabbing, just a little bit at a time. Like that rooster used to. That rooster we had that went around looking for the teeniest speck of blood on a hen or a chick, and then he'd start pecking away at it. And the more he pecked, the more excited he got, till finally he just killed it.
Yeah, we had to boil that one. Tough son of a gun.
They locked into each other like there was nobody else in the bar. At first, it was all about sports, about which one could throw a hard ball faster, which one could take the toughest hit in football, which one could run the fastest and the longest. That was the one they decided would be the big test. They decided to prove it to each other once and for all. So they downed a couple more tequilas and crashed through the doors of the place into the street.
I thought you said he could barely stand up.
Who?
Your father.
That was before he had a drink. Now, it's like he had a transfusion or something. That tequila went right into his blood and lit him on fire. Crouched down in a racing position right beside Jake, and they were both deadly serious. And they were off. Dad took about 4 strides and fell flat on his face in the street, but Jake never stopped. He ran like a wild colt and never looked back, straight into the next bar up the block. I went over and tried to help Dad up, but he turned on me and snarled. Just like a dog, just exactly like a crazy dog. I saw it in his eyes, this deep, deep hate that came from somewhere far away. It was pure black hate with no purpose.
That was him, all right.
He wouldn't let me help him. He just crawled up the street towards the bar that Jake went into. And there I was, following along behind. I felt so stupid. He kept turning fall too far behind because I was afraid something...
What?
I was afraid something bad might happen, and it happened anyway.
What happened?
Jake had a brilliant idea. He said, since we were only about a mile from the American border, we should hit every bar and continue the race until we got to the other side. First one to the other side won. First one to America. But we couldn't miss a bar. Right then, I knew just what Jake had in mind.
What?
Jake had decided to kill Dad.
What in the world are you talking about?
It was just the same as if he had a gun. Jake knew what he was doing. Dad couldn't even walk anymore. He couldn't even stand. His knees were all bloody. Jake knew that all he had to do was push him over the edge. Just a few more drinks and he'd be gone.
That is the most lame-brained, idiotic piece of claptrap I ever heard in my life. Jake might be a lot of things. He might be crazy. He might be wound a little loose in some areas, but he would never, ever in this world try to kill his own father. How can you say
I was
something like
there.
that?
I was right there, and I saw every inch of it. I saw it happen. I saw him killed. I saw him splattered all over the road like some lost piece of livestock. Dad, he was trying to run down the middle of a highway. He was trying to beat his own son to the border. He didn't even know what country he was in anymore. Jake murdered him and never looked back. He was already sitting in some bar up the block ordering up the next round of drinks. He didn't even get up when he heard the sirens.
It was an accident, that's all. Just an ordinary accident. Couldn't be helped.
No, Mom, it was no accident.
He didn't know what he was doing any more than his own father did.
He knew. He knows. He still knows. That's how come That's how come he didn't tell you face to face. That's why a cop came to your door.
He is not a murderer. My son is not a murderer. Why is everyone trying to make him into this criminal? First off, that woman of his. He never should have got tied up with her in the first place. She's the cause of all of this. And now you turned against
I'm
him.
just telling you what I saw with my own eyes.
What you saw? What you saw? You stood there and watched your own father get hit by a truck in the middle of a Mexican highway, and you're trying to tell me that Jake murdered him.
That's the way it happened.
What about you? What were you doing? Jake was nowhere near him, you said. You were the only one sober, and there was nothing you could do. Is that the story?
Dad wouldn't let me near him. I couldn't get near him.
You couldn't have gone for help? Were your legs broken?
There
or
was
something?
nowhere to go. Jake had the keys.
Jake, you're the one who killed him. Not Jake, you're the one. If he was that drunk, you could have gotten him off the road. You could have dragged him. You could have taken care of him. You could have done something other than just stand there and watch. It was you that wanted him dead, wasn't it? It's you that wants Jake dead too.
No!
It's you that wants to undermine this entire family. Drag us down one by one until there's no one left but
I'm
you.
just sick of covering up for him. I'm sick of covering everything up. I'm sick of being locked in this room, in this house. Look at this room. This is Jake's room when he was a kid. What are we doing in here now? What are we supposed to be hiding from?
No one thing for sure. All those airplanes have got to go. All those airplanes are coming down. Every last one of them. All the junk in this house that they left behind for me to save. It's all gone. We'll make us a big bonfire. They never wanted it anyway. They had no intention of ever coming back to pick it up. That was just a dream of theirs. Never meant a thing to them. They just dreamed it up to keep me on the hook. Can't believe I fell for it all these years.
I didn't want him to die, Mom.
Doesn't matter now. He's one of them hopeless men. Nothing you can do about the hopeless. You know what I miss more than anything now?
What's that?
The wind. One of them fierce, hot, dry winds that come from deep out in the desert and rip the trees apart. one of them wigs that wipe everything